It's the 7th race weekend of the FIBT Viessmann Men's Skeleton World Cup. We are in the mountains. Yes, there are mountains there outside Innsbruck in Austria. We're at the Olympic track from 1976 at Igls, tiny village nestling just in the Tyrol region of the country. Into the second and deciding heat of this men's skeleton race, Martin Haven and Ben Sanford watching the action with you. And a fantastic close battle, probably for the silver medal between two Russians, Nikita Tregibov, just a couple of hundreds behind his teammate there.
Yeah, Nikita had a really good first run. Like, nice solid start, good lines down the track, and it's going to be really close between him and Alexander Trechikov.
They both start gangbusters, and Tregibov, a decade younger and with far less experience, is already worrying the Olympic champion. 300ths of a second? That's nothing.
Yeah, but Alexander Trechikov is a fantastic athlete. Fastest start again in the first heat, and so fast on this track. And I think he's won here in the past. He's a little bit behind Martin's, our race leader, but looking good for a silver medal today.
Well, 300ths of a second separate second from third, but 3300ths separate first from second. Martin's Ducours seemingly in a different league. Does that put more pressure on him for the second heat?
Maybe, who knows? Like, Martin is just, he's Superman on the track. Like, he's so calm and collected, he's so fast at the start. He's the full package in skeleton. Like, you just can't really fault Martin. Every now and then he makes a mistake on the track and you're surprised that he's made a mistake. He's just so good.
I want to know where the tram lines are that he finds that nobody else seems able to drop into from the start, because he just goes down on rails. It is Martin Ducours that leads after the first of our two heats. Alexander Trechikov and Nikita Tregibov. That is a battle that's going to be interesting for the next 4-year cycle. Sun Bin-young, a career 4th place ahead of Christopher Groothair, another first heat surprise. And Dave Swift of Great Britain, 6th position in his first World Cup race in over a season. The ICC champion will go late on in the run. But starting us off will be Barrett Martineau of Canada, tied for 20th place. So we'll have 21 sleds in the top 20, and the remaining guys in the 22 to 30 spots will join the crowd trackside to watch the action. Well, there on the left is Christopher Groothair, on the right, Martin Ducours, Alexander Trechikov there in a Russian jacket, and Matt Antoine. Everybody checking their sleds, Ben, just to make sure that they're ready for maybe the change that the sun might bring here.
Yeah, the athletes get 10 minutes in between the runs to check the sleds and make sure everything's okay. Maybe the runners are a little bit scratched, so they're allowed to take some of the scratches out, adjusting the rock in the runners. So first you check the rock, see if it's changed at all, and then maybe because the sun's come out, you want to change it a little bit and gamble a little bit more and put that rock up and see if you can be faster.
21 sleds go in the second heat. It's a top 20, but Barrett Martineau and Raphael Meyer were inseparable in 20th place, so they will both get to go through. We go in reverse order of our first heat performance, and both rounds count. That means the man with the least elapsed time over the 2 runs will win it, and his name is likely to start with Martins and end with Ducours. But we'll wait and see. First sled on the ice, watched by teammate Elizabeth Arche, is Barrett Martineau here at Igls in Austria. He gets our 21 sled top 20 underway, tied for 20th spot. Great first run from him to make his way into the field. Martin Haven, Ben Sanford watching the action.
Barrett, a former national team ski jumper in Canada, and switched to skeleton a few years ago, and this is his first season on the World Cup team, and doing okay. So important at the top of the track to be just nice and relaxed on the sled, allow the sled to run, allow it to gain momentum. Crucial corner here, the big Kreisel corner in the middle of the track. Decent exit from Kreisel, and then through another crucial combination, 8-9. Moving around a little bit on the sled, like legs, trying to balance the position, but good lines.
120.5 at the bottom is 75 miles an hour. And across the line, 53.76, and that's a quarter of a second better and more than his first heat. So they'll have spritzed the track. They spray a little film of water on to remove the imperfections and to mirror polish it up. Plus the sunshine coming in, that's going to change the dynamic of the ice slightly as well.
Yeah, you're right. It was getting a little bit miserable and cold here, and the sun's come out, and so that's going to change the ice temperature and how the sliders think about the track, and also it's going to probably allow the track to maintain its speed for a while. Here you see Barrett coming out of Kreisel. It's a pretty decent exit of Kreisel, a little bit of a bump on the exit, which you often get, but good line, not hitting the wall.
There is Bear. So here's our race leader, tied to the 100th with Raphael Meyer of Austria. So one of them will be 20th, one will be 21st, or they might both be 20th, who can tell? This track, all that kind of stuff happens. We've got a three-way tie coming up later on in our run. Well, after neither the Austrian men's sleds made it into yesterday's two-man race, into Heat 2, Raphael Meyer on the bubble here. He just made it in by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, Rafa, you know, the 2016 World Championships are coming up here in Igls next season, and you know, this is Rafa's home track, and he wants to have a good race here, and he was very disappointed after the first heat to see that he was in 20th place.
Well, like Barrett Martineau, another ski jumper. He started at the age of 6, converted onto skeleton in his teens, 5:21, exactly the same as his first start.
Rafa knows this track so well. He knows exactly what he's done in the first heat, what mistakes he's made, and how to improve for the second heat. Nice line from 3 into 4. Really important here in this combination to line it up for Kreisel and get the entrance that you want.
87.7 speed, a little higher than Barrett Martineau, so he's going to reduce that deficit again.
Just using his foot there a little bit on the exit of Kreisel to straighten his line out.
Not sure he's going to be a whole lot happier with this run. It is a little better. Speed's not as good as the Canadian, and he's still in the red.
Yeah, a little bit better through 9 and 10 than in the first heat.
Not going to close it down. The gap will open up to nearly 0.2 of a second by the line. 1700s. Barrett Martineau breaks the tie in his favour. And I'm afraid Raphael Meyer's familiar smile is not going to be present here.
Yeah, disappointing result from Rafa. He can do better on this track. Doesn't have one of the biggest starts, but he's a good slider and still young and has a lot of years to come. Coming out of Kreisel here, you see like the sled just skidding a little bit, and he's just using his left foot there to try and straighten it out and get the line into 8 that he wants. In the first run, he was long on 9 and flopped off quite badly. Not so bad in the second heat.
But he knows the track better than that, making basic errors that an experienced Austrian shouldn't make. Obviously, congratulations to Barrett Martineau, who is our race leader. Next up, Kyle Tress, the USA, which has started in 17th on our draw. 33-year-old, former basketball and baseball player. Watched skeleton in the games in 2002 in Salt Lake, first time. There you get a great view of the rock on the sled. It doesn't have flat blades like you would see on an ice skate, for instance. It's more like a rocking chair.
Yeah, it is, and you wind that rock in, and the more rock you have, the less control you have, and that's something the athletes have to think about, how much control they want to have on the track when they're sliding down.
5:18 first heat.
A little bit of a correction there as he came out of the groove and lining it up for corner 1, and corner 2 and corner 3 is so long, and you have to be so gentle and sort of just massage the sled out of both of the corners and just let it run as much as possible.
And how good is this track? Good practice for the World Championships in Winterberg, because the first corners there are dead slow as well.
Yeah, the top of the track in Winterberg is slow, and here we are in Igls, and Igls is a slow track. In both tracks, you want to be steering as little as possible. That's the general rule in skeleton most of the time. Steer as little as possible and let it run as much as possible.
800s behind the start. The gap went down to 11. It's down to 10. 99.7, quicker than Barrett Martineau. 120.4, just a whisker behind the Canadian. Going to be very close at the line. Could come down to 1 or 2 hundredths. Oh, 14, he drifted away. Well, Barrett Martineau stays on top of the pile.
Yeah, that was a good second run from Barrett, and so he deserves to be in the leaders box for a little while.
Martineau, one of 3 men outside the top 20 who made it into the second heat.
So here you see Kyle pushing the sled, just sort of slips a little bit there. Nice load and relaxes quickly into the sled. Coming out of 9 here, that was a pretty good line out of 9. Just takes a little bit of a tap though before 10.
Barrett Martineau of Canada leads our race. Yuki Sasahara of Japan, 18th after the first of our two heats here in Austria. Yuki made it in of 20th place at the start, 26th fastest pusher out of a field of 30. And on a track this short, Ben Sanford, that leaves him at a real disadvantage.
It really does. Like, you really need to have a strong start here in Igls. It's a short, slow track, and so much of it is going to come down to how you push at the start. It's a difficult track if you're starting slow to pick up spots. It's more a track where you lose spots by making mistakes.
Trying to drive it out and find even an extra 100th or two. Who knows how important that might be at the bottom. 5:19, he finds 300s. And immediately into his tightly disciplined aerodynamic form, trying to cheat the air as much as possible.
Yeah, so important to have that head close to the ice, the shoulders down. You really want 4 points of contact with the sled, the knees and the shoulders, and relax into it. Be as close to the ice as possible, steer as little as possible. Exit appraisal here, really important.
In the red, and 10th back on Barrett Martineau.
Can he get the exit of 9? Not a bad exit, it's pretty good. Straight down the middle into 10th.
Well, Barrett was only 900ths off 17th place when he tied for 20th, so it's very close here. 120.4 is good speed.
I think he's going to do it here.
900s back. Is he? No, he's not. Second place for Yuke. So Barrett Martineau rides his luck up the order another spot. Sasahara looked like he might have it with the labyrinth. Maybe just took a little too much speed away from him.
Yeah, here you see Yuki coming on around Kreisel and just sort of hits that bump on the exit of Kreisel. Head comes up a little bit. Exit of 10 here. 10 drops a lot. It's really important to have some height in 10, not too much, and get that line through the labyrinth. You want to get into 11, get off 11 as quickly as possible and allow it to run through the labyrinth.
Yuki Sasahara of Japan in second place. Canada will lead after this heat. There is Elizabeth Varche, took silver in the women's race earlier. We've got a Canadian leading, Barrett Martineau, his young fellow rookie, Evan Neufeld. Good run from him in the first heat to be in 17th place. 8th fastest starter. When he gets a little bit more time on the ice, the man from Saskatchewan is going to be a pretty formidable weapon for the Canadian team.
Yeah, he's a good athlete and, you know, fast starter, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does here in the second heat on the start line. See the spikes on the shoes there, allows the athlete to grip on the ice.
Well, he's on a sled built by former slider Ryan Davenport.
And you don't really see a lot of Davenports around anymore. I think Ryan stopped making sleds 4 or 5 years ago, and Evan's probably the only athlete in the men's field that's on a Davenport sled.
Well, I'm sure there are lots on the Intercontinental Cup, North American circuit, Europa Cup circuit, because these things don't go out of fashion. They're still very good race kit.
Yeah, they are. They're very well made. Ryan was a great slider, 2-time world champion, and he really knew how to make a good skeleton sled, and he still makes really good runners. Big mistake there coming out of Kreisel, just hits the wall too hard and trying to correct it. That'll make the exit 9 difficult.
One curve is never in isolation in this sport, is it? They all lead into each other.
Yeah, one mistake is often going to be a mistake later on down the track, and you saw that with the exit of Kreisel making the exit of 9 difficult.
Well, he went from a 10th up to 4 tenths back, 6 tenths back at the line, 54-47 slide, and that series of corners that just went horribly wrong for him just nailed him to the bottom of the pile, I'm afraid. Disappointing second run for Evan Neufeld.
Yeah, Evan's a great guy, but that's a really bad mistake. Here you see him pushing. Nice load onto the sled. Look how close his chin is to the ice. Like, that's almost scraping along the ice. Millimeters from it.
Yeah, if millimeters from it.
Yeah.
And this Davenport sled, I want to bet he's had that since he started sliding and just likes it too much to try and change.
That's a really rough exit of 9. You saw the right runner up in the air, sort of landing hard down on the ice, and that's going to cost him a lot of time.
Barrett Martineau of Canada leads with 15 to go. One of the big surprises of our second heat coming up in a moment. This is Mattia Gaspari of Italy, 21st fastest start, made it into 16th place. Martin Haven, Ben Sanford watching the action trackside here in Igls in Austria. Race 7 of 8 of the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Mattia Gaspari had a nice-looking run, Ben.
Yeah, he did. Like, really nice, solid first run, and he's such a young athlete and so much potential. This is his first season on the World Cup, or first full season on the World Cup, and didn't have a great start in the first heat, but had a good, solid run down the track. He's still a junior in skeleton terms, and he's got the World Juniors coming up next week in Altenburg, and I think that's probably one of his main focuses this season.
Best of 13th, worst of 19th so far this season. Comes from just south of Cortina over the Alps into the Dolomites.
Nice looking run down the track so far. Clean exit of Kreisel. Let's see if he gets his 8-9 combination right.
Just starting to creep away now.
That's a pretty good exit from 9.
Good speed as a result, 99.9. Fastest we've seen so far in the second heat. While his career best is 13th. He'll need to pick off a few more to get to that, but that is a good-looking run. 53.78. Barrett Martineau actually still the quickest run in this heat, 53.76. You want to see the day when we just use the first run to seed for the second and have a one-heat result like you do in the 100 meters?
I think the 2-heat race is pretty good. Brings a bit of tension to the race. Here you see Mattia at the start. He's a good athlete and just pushing. He's pushing quite wide, but that final step is a long way away from the sled. Bowing to the crowds.
Nice touch. Well done, Mattia Gaspari. Little Italian 8 flair. And Junior Worlds in Altenburg, that's going to be a different track from this. But Dorin Velicu, another big story in our first heat. The Romanian, one of just 4 men from outside the top 20 to make it into the second heat. He was last on the ice, 30th starter, 16th fastest getaway, and drove a really good line to get into 15th place in this heat.
Yeah, really nice first run by Dorin. He's been quite quick here in training all week, and we saw this morning Maria, his teammate in the women's race, finishing in 11th place, her best ever result, and I think this is probably Doran's best result too.
Absolutely, if he holds this place, definitely will be. I mean, for a start, it's the first time this season he's made the second heat, and on the hardest track to do it. 5.16. Little slower than his first start.
Yeah, not the kindest exit from the groove either. Just threw him a little bit late into corner 1, and you saw him rise a little bit in corner 2. And he's doing well though. He's got the sled back online. Nice line between 3 and 4 and into 5. You can see him switching his head around and moving it to the side to try and get the sled to where he wants it.
And that's the most subtle little steering you can do, using your head to deflect the air and just wriggling your body a little. Good speed at the moment, 99.9 from Gaspari, our leader, so he's just about holding his advantage. This could be down to the 100th.
Ooh, close.
Good speed, 121.2, half a kilometre an hour up. And he is in, no, he's not! 53.87.
That's close.
Oh, you see, even when you think it's all over, the last couple of corners, the labyrinth there, the last 3 turns, that can rob you of the speed you need to get to the line. Second place, but that would still be his career best, I think, in World Cup.
Yeah, well done to Dorin. That's a really good result for him. Good day for the Romanians. You can see Dorin here, he's just a little bit long on the first corner, and that just pushes him straight across onto corner 2, and then he goes onto corner 2 too sharply and just gets too much of a rise in the beginning of the corner. Coming out of Kreisel here again, his head pops up, hits the wall a little bit. So there's a few mistakes in that run, but he holds the speed, keeps the speed going.
Canadian Dave Krzyzewski from London, Ontario. Grizz, as he's known, because Krzyzewski is so much harder to say. Started 14th in the draw. First year on the World Cup trail as a full-time campaigner from Brampton, Ontario, not London, Ontario. 2 8th places in Lake Placid and Calgary, perhaps the tracks he knows in this year's calendar better than any other. But he has raced here in Europe, so he does have knowledge of these tracks. Trying to use that here.
And again, he gets a difficult exit from the groove. The groove finishes, and you can see it just pushing him away to the left, and you really want to be going straight out of the groove and a nice line into corner 1.
Well, he was looking to hold off the guys behind. He found an extra 500s at the start. 3,500s up on Mattia Gaspari now.
Dave, I think, is the biggest guy in the field these days, weighing in at maybe 96 kgs.
Yeah, took over from you, Ben, as he's not quite your height, but he is tall.
Looking good down the track, he's got a good lead here.
Opening it up, 4300s.
Nice
99s, whoa, triple figures. Good speed from him. 121.5 at the bottom. Very good looking run from Dave Krachechin. That'll put him in the leader's box. And that is way quicker than anybody we've seen so far. To put that into perspective, a 53.43 would have left him 6th in the first heat. That's a good run.
That is a really good run by Dave.
See, that's why I want to have a second heat only on the second heat times.
Nice push. You can see that final step is close to the sled. He gets to the sled, moving forward from the final step. Tuck.
Found another 500s. And found lots more pace down the track. Look at that exit.
Yeah, and that's a really nice exit of 9. He's a little bit sideways later on down the straight, but that's a good exit. He's using his right toe to straighten the sled out. But yeah, that's a really good run from Dave.
There's Chris. Come on, Chris, smile. That was a good run, bud. Next up is Kilian von Schleinitz. The other age scale, the other end of the age scale. Kilian, one of the younger athletes in the field, just turned 20. 2014 Junior World Champion. Germany have all the 3 last World Champions, Junior World Champions in their team. From Berchtesgaden in Bavaria. Brother Julian racing in the Luge World Championships in Altenburg this week. In fact, he could go to Junior Worlds again this year, and for the next 4.
Yeah, he might well be in Altenburg next week, and he would have a very good shot of winning it again this year.
Another good start, 5:10, so he retains his first heat advantage of a fraction over Dave Krachechin. Just 300ths of a second as he lay down to 200ths.
Looking nice and relaxed on the sled, like nice lines through the top of the track. You really want to let the sled run as much as possible here in Igls, and he looks like he's doing that.
Slower than Krachechin, it'll be down to 0.
A little bit of a touch out of Kreisel. Can he get the exit of 9 here?
Chris, 100.5. 100 flat, not enough. He's going to drop further back. 124, 1.2 down. Von Schleinitz is not going to hold his place. Dave Krachechin of Canada will stay in the leader's box. 53.65 slide.
This race is so close, so close, and that Dave could pick up a number of spots here.
A blink of an eye can make several positions difference, as Kilian von Schleinitz just found out.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad run from Kilian. Like, nice lines. He does quite well here out of 9. You can see him looking into 10, like trying to get the entrance that he wants. Keeps the sled going in a straight line.
Well, he's a trainee in the Bavarian police. They say policemen keep looking younger. I mean, he still looks 12.
Yeah, he does look young, doesn't he? Through the labyrinth in the bottom. The labyrinth is so flat. You've gained all the speed that you can by this stage, and you're just trying to flow with the corners and get on and off them as quickly as possible.
He stops you for speeding. You'll be going, what do you want, Sonny? Possibly not. Next up, Matthias Guggenberger in his Chrome Dome. Teammate Janine Flock led the first heat in the women's race, finished in the bronze medal position. She'll go again to defend her European Championship that she won last year. That race will be tomorrow for the women, held over from Laplania last week. Gugi, 12th place after the first heat. Father Mario here watching the action. Got the little backswing with the leg before the start. You used to see that quite a lot. I think he's about the only guy left who does it.
Yeah, you used to see Duff Gibson do that a lot. I think that was his signature move on the start line for a few years.
And Anja Huber-Selbach used to be quite a fan of that as well. Obviously, somebody in the German training program has talked her out of it.
I think Gugi would be quite disappointed after his first heat. He's not in the top 10, and this is his home track. And 2016 World Championships coming up, and you want to do well. He's thinking about next year, and he wants to be on the podium next year.
He needs to think about this year. He's losing his advantage. He's going to go behind. Toe drag there. We'll see him in the red next spot.
Yeah, a bit of trouble there between 8 and 9.
2 kilometers an hour down on Dave Krejcichin. Still 2 down. He's going to drop 2, 3 places. Behind Mattia Gaspari, not quite. No, 3/10 off the pace. Drops 3 spots. Krejcichin could end up in the top 10 at this rate.
Yeah, that's disappointing from Matthias. He wants much more than that. And, yeah, disappointing day for both the Austrian sliders in the men's race.
Yep. It's such a tough track to be good on, this track, even with all their experience.
Yeah, it is, and it's a really easy track to learn, but it's a difficult track to be fast on, and you really need to have a good start. And if you're not starting in the top 6, it's unlikely that you're going to finish in the top 6.
Dave Krejcichin of Canada, our race leader then, with 11 to go. As Mathieu walks back in, Matthias Kuchenberger looking disappointed. Just out of the top 10 in the first heat, the USA's Matt Antoine. Antoine, early starter, 4th out of the start shed, lies 4th in the World Cup rankings. Race winner in Lake Placid last season, and of course, 3rd in the Olympic Games. There's your current race leader, Dave Krejcichin. Not going to beat his World Cup best, but he's going to beat his best ever World Cup result in Europe, even if he gains no more places. And Matt Antoine, well, 2 bronze medals so far this season. He's going to be a long way from the podium today.
Saw him there just punching his front foot into the ice to get some more grip out of that front foot.
Well, it was worth it, 5:02 compared to a 5:06 first start. So again, finding a few more hundreds, and they all count then.
Yeah, they sure do, like especially on a short track like this, and it's such a close race, like every 100th that you can gain is a bonus.
And 50.2 speed out of the first start clock, and that shows real good momentum. And his lead is opened up now to 2700s.
Kreisel exit here. Nice clean exit of Kreisel.
Not going quite as quickly as Krejcichin, so the gap's coming down.
That's a really nice exit of 9 though. Straight down the middle of the track into 10.
Kilometre an hour slower than the Canadian. It's going to come down to single digits, 120.6. Krejcichin was 121.6. How much has Antoine got in the tank? Just enough! Oh my Lord!
Just enough.
Oh, but in a one-heat race, he'd have been 1300s behind the leader. And that's what you need to really mix the field up. Wow.
Yeah, had a few problems on that run, but the middle section was really good. He's a tall athlete and he's got a decent start. Nice load onto the sled. Here's the Kreisel, the 270-degree turn in the middle of the track, and has a nice exit here. See him coming out, just using his right knee to dig into the sled and keep it off that left wall, and that's a good line going down into corner 8.
So the British girls watching that exit as Matt Antoine takes the lead away from Dave Krejcichin. But they're only 100th apart with 10 to go. That means you beat both of them or you beat neither of them. You can effectively count the top 2 as one man. 10 sleds to go here in Igls in Austria as we get down to deciding the medals. Cloud is starting to burn away. There's some sunshine today. That's going to affect not just the fans, feeling a little less chilly than they have been over the last few days, but you see the sun there on the track as well, Ben, and all these temperature and humidity changes, they change the nature of the ice and how it reacts to the runners going over it.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and the athletes have to be aware of what the ice conditions are and what the weather conditions are doing, and also what the track is and where you are. And so what the athletes are going to do is they're going to select a set of runners for the day that they think it best suits the track and how they want to drive the track, but also the weather conditions and the ice conditions.
And so much of this is being at tracks in the different weather. It's experience. You can't buy it. You can't read up about it. You have to experience it yourself, right?
Yeah, you really do. Like, you really need to understand your equipment and what sort of slider you are and how you want to slide that track. And then you come up with a strategy for, you know, if it's colder, I'm going to go with sharper runners, but I don't want, you know, so much control control in the corners, and so you really need to match your runners to the conditions and how you want to slide the track as well. And when you get things like that right, that's when you can be really fast.
And it doesn't often matter what your teammate does, because their sliding style, their physiognomy, all of that could be very different.
Absolutely, and so you can watch other people slide and you can look at their equipment all day long, but you need to find something that works for you, and that's the uniqueness of skeleton. And yeah, you can have people tell you what you should be doing, but yeah, you really, to a certain degree, have to work it out for yourself or work it out with your coaches.
It is intensely personal. The body weight is so much of the all-up equation of the sled, and how it moves around is very individual. It's a great view around over this valley, around Innsbruck, the 2000, the two-time Olympic city, 64 and 76. And of course, World Championships coming back here on the 40th anniversary of those games next year. 10 sleds to go here in Igls in Austria as we decide race 7 of the Viessmann FIBT Skeleton Men's World Cup. Junior World Champion Axel Jung for Germany, 10th after the first heat. He was the 2012 Junior World Champion in men's skeleton. Just a couple of hundreds in front of our current leader, Matt Antoine of the USA. Martin Haven and Ben Sanford watching the action.
4:95 start, that's a really good start from Axel. He's fast on the start, he's a good slider. Been sliding in the German program for a number of years now. Come through the ranks as a junior and now on the World Cup team.
Rookie season, 3rd in the World Cup standings. I mean, the women's competition, the men's competition, the rookies are looking very strong this year.
Yeah, they sure are. And we've had a lot of retirements and people finish after Sochi. And the World Cup now, it's quite open. There's a lot of new sliders here, and it's great to see these young guys doing well.
Creeping away, especially now you're watching rather than competing against them. Creeping away from Matt Antoine, 99.8, decent speed.
Bit of a mistake there, coming out of 10, touches the wall before he gets into the labyrinth.
He's got enough to stay in front of the line. He does, but not by very much. 53.53 slide.
Dirk Marchins, the coach there from Immenau and Thuringen, not looking too happy. He knows there were some mistakes there and he left some time on the track.
Well, he leads with 9 to go, but that might not be enough to keep him in the top 3 in the World Cup standings. Looking very pensive there.
Yeah, good athlete at the start, like strong and powerful, good turnover. You load onto the sled and you want to relax into it as quickly as possible. Here he is in corner 10 and he just sort of gets hung up on the exit here and it just pushes him across the track. You can see him like pushing his knee into the, like his right knee into the sled, trying to avoid that wall, but hits it and then goes late into corner 11.
Well, there is Axel Jung, our race leader. Next up, the first of our Russians. And this is Sergei Chudanov. 8th fastest starter with a 5:02 getaway. 7th in a 3-way tie at the bottom of the track. So effectively, we got 9th, 8th, and 7th on the same time.
This is some crazy tight racing here. Not really having the best season. Had some really good results in the last couple of years, but just seems to be struggling a little bit this season.
2013 World Championship bronze medalist Alexander Tretyakov took the gold in St. Louis.
So he's behind at the moment. Can he gain that as he goes down the track? 3 Russians today in the top 9. The opposite from the women's results today, where the 3 Russians were outside the top 10.
3 Russians in the top 19 in the women's race. Yeah, they were all down in the low teens. Trudy behind, in front, behind, in front again.
It's going to be so close, just skidding a little bit there in the straight.
Good speed though. 106, 121 is better than Matt Antoine of the USA. He's going to take the lead, surely. 0.2 of a second in front of the line, 1/4 of a second away. That's a good bottom part of the track from him.
Yeah, nice run by Sergei there.
Well, 2/10 quicker than Matt Antoine, so that opens up the advantage from the American. But of course, he is in a 3-way tie for 7th. However, that might well break it in his favour. That was a much better second heat, I think, Ben.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Held his composure, and he knows he's in a 3-way tie, and he has to put down a good run to maintain his spot, and hopefully for him, he's going to be able to pick up a few spots as well.
Most of the last 4 or 5 guys have been within a few hundredths of their first run. He was 2 tenths quicker.
Just sliding off corner 9 there a little bit. You can see the runner's just going a little bit sideways, but corrects it quite well, and just using his right knee there to try and get some grip on the runners and get into corner 10 where he wants it to go.
Chudi looking relatively happy with that. That might vault him up into the top half dozen, but he's got plenty of challenge here from Thomas Ducours. 3 silver medals so far this season from the older of the 2 Ducours brothers. And Thomas with a bronze last time out in La Plana in the European Championships. Shouldn't be down in 7th place.
No, he had a really bad start in the first heat. Started 14th and using an old pair of spikes there, maybe his favorite pair of spikes. So much faster in the start this time, 5:03, 5:07.
But 400s behind Chudi as he loads, 50.1, little better speed in the first corner. And that's one thing about both Ducours brothers, is they're fast, but they carry so much speed into the corner.
Yeah, they're both such great sliders. So much experience now. Good equipment, good on the start line.
900s behind Chudinov, the gap is growing.
Nice line from 9 into 10 there, really nice and smooth.
A kilometre down. Still a kilometre down. Chudinov is going to stay in the leader's box. Ducours is not going to get to him. Chudi moves up the order. Thomas Ducours drops into 2nd place. 1700s back.
Well done, Chudi, but bad luck for Thomas. See him crashing into the pads there. The most dangerous part of the track in Igls is when you cross the finish line and you head up. The track starts going uphill. When you go into a couple of corners, you crash into the pads and the concrete wall, and it can get very messy.
Not looking overjoyed with that. The start was a bit better, but the speed drifted away lower down.
Yeah, a lot better at the start. I think he took about a 10th off his time from run 1 to run 2. In Kreisel here. Good high line in Kreisel.
Lots of Latvian support. Right outside our commentary position and on the roof above the changing rooms. And the Latvian, the skeleton, the bobsled is always amazed at how much support there is. Well, the 3rd of our 7th place finishers in the first heat, Dom Parsons of Great Britain. He was in fact the first man to set the time, which is why he goes last of the trio. Off a 5-0 start, looking for a top 6 finish here. And these guys were just 200s away from Dave Swift of Great Britain in 6th place.
Dom on a Bromley sled.
Sponsored by Bromley Tech. 2 4th places, the best results of his season so far. He's down to the podium. 5:08. Well, that's 800 slower than his first, and in this tight little battle, you can ill afford that.
Dom's going to have to have a good run here to be in the leader's box at the end of the run.
Well, he looked nice and relaxed in the first heat. 87.3 to 87.7 of Chudinov, so the gap grows.
Yeah, losing a little bit of time here. Losing more time. Nice line from 8 into 9, though.
Little battle of Britain as well with teammate Dave Swift, who comes up next. 99.6, almost on par with Chudi, but needs 121 at the bottom, not quite there. Will he bring the gap down? Not from 3/10. Will he be in 2nd place or 3rd or 4th place on the line, Dom Parsons? That's a disappointing 2nd heat. And again, as the track has changed, maybe it's moved away from what he had in his mind as the ideal setup.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's gone wrong there. He's just been losing time the whole way down the track, so maybe it is his setup, maybe his runner choice for the day. Like, he looked like he had good lines. Look at the angles here when he's starting, like pulls the sled back, tries to explode off the block, trying to get that ice contact and push the sled forward. A lot of steering here on the exit of 9, just sliding sideways. You've seen a lot of athletes today, like too long on corner 9, but he gets off corner 9 quite early and has to steer quite hard to make sure it doesn't go back onto the corner.
Saw lots of ice flying up. Here is his teammate, Dave Swift of Great Britain. His last World Cup race, a single race last year, was in Koenigsegg. Before that, it was in Whistler in November 2012 in the World Cup. He won the Intercontinental Cup this season. This is his first World Cup race of the year. And this could be epic for him. His career best in his handful of World Cup races, 15th place. He was 6th in Heat 1. And as his teammates were saying before, come on, Swifty.
And he's pretty swift at the start as well. Really quick leg turnover.
Swift by name, swift by nature. He really is Billy Whiz at the top of the track. 492 from a 495 first heat. That is an exceptional getaway.
He's going to have to carry that push down the track, carry that speed. Nice line through 3, 4, coming into 5.
Well, how many coaches tell you, give me a sprinter and I'll turn him into a slider? 87.4, lost a little bit of pace.
Still in the lead. Can he get the exit here? Yes.
Relax onto the sled and let it do the work for you. Shoulders up a little.
Yeah, still losing a bit of time though. Now he's behind.
Judy had a really good run, didn't he, from 7th place. 120.3. Is it going to be close enough? Could be down to 100th of a second or two. And at the line in 2nd place by a 10th, but that will still be comfortably his best World Cup result. Welcome back to World Cup racing, Dave Swift. Not the single finger he wanted to see coming into the tunnel, but 2 good runs, 2 great starts.
Yeah, good work by Swifty today. 7th place in a World Cup, by far his best result. Good line out of Kreisel here. Nice line around 10. See him just staring down. The head comes up though. His position on the sled just wasn't as good as it could have been in the 2nd heat.
Yep, saw him shuffling his hips and hands there. Sergei Chudinov leads from Dave Swift and Thomas Dukurs. 5 to go. Five sleds left to go in Igls in Austria to decide the medals in race 7 of the Viessmann FIBT Men's Skeleton World Cup. Martin Haven, Ben Sanford watching the action, and Christopher Grotehaar of Germany. Big slide from him. Only 11th fastest at the start, Ben, yet drove his way into 5th place. That was all about the drive lines.
Yeah, and that's really impressive to be able to do that on this track here in Igls, where it's such a short track. It's an easy track to get down, and so you don't see athletes making a lot of mistakes. You see little mistakes, but to be able to drive from 14th ranked push to top 5 in the first heat, that's some good driving now.
5:04 start, a fraction quicker. Race being led by Sergei Chudinov, who was tied for 7th in the first heat.
Christopher, not a big fan of this track, but he's doing well today.
Gaps coming down though. Judy could move up, might even challenge for the medals. Only 100th in it. Wow. Grotehaar not with the speed in the first heat. 100.1. That's the 2nd fastest. Only Axel Junker's gone quicker. 120.8. This could be very close at the line. Was 300s behind. Will he get the dive out to take him into the lead? Ties for the lead with Sergei Chudinov, who is as impassive as you can imagine. Yeah, whatever. That's a great run from Christopher Grotehaar, found it in the labyrinth of final corners.
Yeah, he sure did, but what he found at the bottom of the track was from the middle of the track, and he did that part of the track really well. He had a nice line from Kreisel through 8 and into 9. Loading onto the sled, trying to get into position as quickly as possible. Coming around 9 here, really nice exit from 9 into 10, down the straight, like good line. Slightly sideways, you can see the runner's not going perfectly straight, but very good.
There's the smile. We haven't seen much of that this year. Look at the big beam there. Good stuff from Christopher Grotehaar, tied for the lead with 4 to go. He and Sergei Chudinov could be in the medals. They both had really good runs. So 4 to go. Now what about this boy? He's had a bronze and a silver so far this year. Sun Bin Young. He could easily be in the medals here. The Ironman helmet. That shows the intent of the man, doesn't it?
So fast at the start. Like, look at his thighs. So strong. Seen him squatting in the gym, squatting 200 kgs to the floor, no problem.
4.89, just a couple of hundreds off his start.
Doesn't know a lot of these European tracks that well, hasn't spent a lot of time in Europe, and so to come out this season and have the results that he's having is just incredible.
Well, you can hardly tell the difference between North American tracks that he really knows well and European tracks that he's barely ever seen.
Yeah, he's such a composed slider. Here he is in Kreisel. Really nice line from Kreisel, just using his left toe to straighten him out a little bit. Nice early line into 9.
Leads coming down a little. 99.8, that's enough. Not as quick as we've seen.
Head up a little bit at the bottom of the track.
120.5 at 75 miles an hour. He needs to know where he's going into these lower corners, and he does. 800ths of a second, that'll do it. 53.43 slide. Still, Sergei Chudinov's 53.33 slide in this heat is the fastest by some margin, but Sun Min Jung over the 2 heats takes the lead.
There you see his on the start line move, keeping the arms loose, giving them the flick.
I got to watch the Iron Man movies. Maybe that's something that comes from the films as well. Great drive from him, though.
This is really good. This is such a good line from 9 into 10. It's going a little bit sideways, but the exit of 9 was good. And that's the key to the bottom of the track.
And this is a track that you can't busk it. You've got to know. You've got to be so precise. And now we get into the medals. 2 Russians separated by 300ths of a second. They are a third of a second clear of current leader Sun Min Jung. They're a third of a second behind first heat leader Martin Stukurs. This is mano a mano, or whatever the Russian for that is. This is Tregibov, the 19-year-old young upstart, versus Tretyakov, the 29-year-old Olympic champion. Thomas Platzer lays down Tregibov's sled, and the hand beating begins from the Russians.
Yeah, this really is a 2-man race for the silver and the bronze medal.
And also for being the best Russian on a daily basis. Tregibov is poking the Olympic champion with a stick. 4.98, same as his first start.
Oh, he's loopy in corner 2. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He's using his toe a lot. I don't know what's wrong at the top of the track, but he's not enjoying the top section. He's steering quite a bit, but he will be so relaxed.
3200's first heat advantage, down to 21. 87.9 though, that is the best speed we've seen at the second track.
He was good through 8.9 in the first run again. He's good through there in the second heat.
Top speed, comfortably the quickest. 121.4, still the quickest. This is putting him into the medals, clear of the Korean, who applauds. 53.23 slide. That's a really good run, a tenth of a second quicker than anybody's managed so far.
That is a really good run because he had some problems at the top of the track, and so to put that time down, that's really impressive. He's done the middle section of the track really well, I think.
4 races this year, 3 fifth places and a bronze in Samoritz.
See him there just using his toes to steer a little bit, and Igls is a track where you normally don't want to use your toes because it's just going to slow you down.
World Cup rookie, never raced in the World Cup before, but he does know these tracks. Just 19. Oh goodness, the world's in for trouble in the next few years from Nikita Tregibov. And yet, we can't write this man off. His teammate, Alexander Tretyakov, the world champion, the Olympic champion. He is the man on the big occasion. He may not be the benchmark this year, but when we get to Winterberg in the World Championships, expect him and Tregibov here, the current leader, to be challenging Martin Stukurs yet again.
Watch this start. He is the start monster.
Start record, we probably ought to mention, 4.74. He was 4.86 in the first heat, 4.82.
He makes pushing the sled look so easy, and it's not. It's quite difficult.
Well, the start's always been his strong suit. The driving has caught up over the years, but occasionally he makes mistakes.
Yeah, he does, but he's looking good at the moment. Nice line from 5-6 into Kreisel. Can he get the exit here? Yeah, good line out of Kreisel. Avoids the hammer before corner 8.
Top speeds, Chegibov had 109.
Oh, he's hit the wall there.
100.6. Well, he's still nearly 4 tenths up, 3 tenths up, 120. So only a kilometre an hour slower than Chegibov. He's not going to win the race unless Martins Ducours lets him. But he beats Chegibov by 3 tenths of a second. Put the whippersnapper back in his box, at least for today.
And hits those pads pretty hard, and that doesn't look good. But he's okay.
He'll take it every time and come back for more, because that's what you got to do.
And all the Russians in the top 5 today. That's a good result from the Russian men.
Russians 1-2-4 at the moment as Alexander Tretyakov, the Olympic champion.
Here you see him coming out of corner 9, and he just flicks that wall on the right-hand side, and we haven't seen a single athlete hit that wall there today, so he's done a pretty unique job of getting out of 9 the way he did to be able to hit that wall.
Well, lots of noise for the Latvians as well as for the Russians at the start, and there will be down at the finish here as well. Our World Cup points leader, beaten to the gold medal just once this year by Alexander Tretyakov, so he's had 5 wins and a silver. Won the European Championship last week for the 5th time in his career. And on target to win the Crystal Globe as the season's champion in World Cup for the 5th time in his career as well.
They call him Superman because he's just so good and so solid and so fast off the block there. Great turnover.
Doesn't really need Matthias Biedermann yelling at him, but it all helps. 491 getaway, 900s behind Alexander Tretyakov at the start. We had 3300s to play with.
And the thing about watching Martins is that it doesn't even look like he's steering most of the time.
It's like watching a great race car driver. They're not in trouble in the corner because they do it all before they get there.
He's so precise with the stairs. Here he is in Kreisel. He'll get the exit of Kreisel. Well, a bit of a tap on the exit of Kreisel.
Top speed, see, he's human. Not often, but he is occasionally.
Really good line from 9 to 10. Kept the sled going straight.
Top speed again, ties Chegibov, 122.3, cruising away now in overdrive. He's going to win by 4 tenths of a second and more. What a drive from Martins Ducours. The challenge from the Russians was a very stiff and sustained one, but Ducours rises to the occasion, doesn't just hold on, he opens up his advantage, takes win number 6 of the season.
I don't really know what to say. Martins is just extremely good.
There's nothing to say. It's like watching Michael Schumacher in his pomp. You've just got to recognise you're in the presence of greatness and enjoy every minute of it. Because one day he'll hang up the helmet, and that'll be the end of that.
He really has made Igls like his living room over the last couple of years. Like, he is just so dominant here in Igls and knows the track so well, and it suits his sliding there, and you see him just explode off the block. Fast turnover, gets onto the sled and straight away just so calm and relaxed.
And he is just a complete package, isn't he? He's got the huge start, he's got the discipline to cheat the air, and he's got the brain power to register what needs to be done before it needs to be done.
Yeah, and that's a key thing in skeleton, like correcting the mistakes as quickly as possible. And Martins he won't be happy. Like, he probably made mistakes in that run that we can't even see that. He'll know of them. He's fixed them before we even see them.
His disasters are most people's insignificant moments that they don't even remember by the end of the run. Martins Ducours does it again. Win number 6 of the season from Alexander Tretyakov, Nikita Chegibov, and 4 Russians in the top 5 places. Sergei Chudinov tied with Christopher Groothaar for 5th position. It's a really good day for the Russian men in skeleton. And Dom Parsons down in 10th place after slipping away from Dave Swift, who finishes 7th, his best career World Cup result. And Evan Neufeld dropping to the tail of the field, 21st place, as he had a disappointing second heat. Well, that is the result then from race number 7 here. One more regular season race to go, and the Russians go to home ice. Can they close out the podium on today's evidence? Might not be beyond the bounds of possibility. Well, their home track in Sochi, the Russians didn't look that shoddy in February 2014. They'll go back a year later, won't they? And they'll have the gold and the bronze medalist in their lineup for the men's race.
It's actually exactly a year. Today is the 7th of February, I think, and that was the opening ceremony last year. And so the men's race is probably next weekend in Sochi, and that's going to be the weekend during the Olympics that we had the men's race. So exactly a year to the day. Yep.
So the Olympic champion, Alexander Tretyakov, and the bronze medalist, Nikita Tregebov, who we had never seen on a World Cup race before he went to the Games. And that man, the silver medalist.
Can he get revenge in Sochi next week?
Well,
that's the big question.
And if he does, you know, he's been back to Whistler and won in Whistler again since not getting the gold medal there, being denied by John Montgomery. You know, and then we go to Korea, and there's the prospect possibly being denied by another home athlete. If Sun Bin Young keeps his career trajectory up, there's no question he's going to be a medal contender.
Yeah, Yun has so much potential. He's only been sliding for a couple of years. He's come out of nowhere. He's fast at the start. Like, he looks composed on the sled. He's got good equipment in his Bromley sled and good coaching. And, yeah, he's going to be difficult to beat in Korea. And so, you know, Martins is going to have to... Martins is fantastic, but he's going to have to be even better in Korea to make sure that he can be in the medals. And
well, with the talent we've already got, it's going to be a hell of an Olympic finals. Never mind what might be coming in a year or two as other athletes shape up.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting 4-year cycle.
Yeah, no question about it. Lots of new names to conjure with, and some more probably coming as well. Fantastic stuff, and a fantastic race here today as well. In the valley, in the sunshine, is the Olympic city of Innsbruck, and high above it in the Tyrol, we are just outside the village of Igls, in the shadow of the Pachterhof mountain, at the track that hosted the 76 and 64 Winter Games. Martin Stuckhaus from brother Thomas leading the World Cup standings. Stuckhaus a moderate finish away from claiming his 5th consecutive Crystal Globe. Axel Jungk of Germany in 3rd place, the rookie, having a great season, and some of our World Cup rookies just performing out of their skins this year. Most impressive new group that we've had joining in. Well, to present our flowers today from Austrian Parliament is MP Peter Halbner, and the Vice Mayor of Innsbruck, Christopher Kaufmann, also here on hand. Nikita Tregebov on the right, Alexander Tretyakov on the left of your picture, and in the centre our race winner, Martin Stuckhaus. And Ben Sanford, another textbook performance from Stuckhaus, doing everything you expect him to do and everything you want to see from him.
Yeah, just another day at the office for Martins, just making it look easy and winning races. So powerful off the start. Gets onto the sled and just looks so relaxed as soon as he gets on the sled, and nice lines down the track. His lines are great, his equipment's good. Such a smooth slider. Always making it look easy, and gets that crucial part through the exit of Kreisel to the exit of 9 right, and then the sled just takes off at the bottom of the track.
Well, like the very greatest in any sport, he makes it look like you can do it. And then you check yourself and remind yourself, no, actually I can't. And that's the genius of guys like Martin Stuckhaus, like a Tiger Woods or a Michael Schumacher. They make what's so hard look so straightforward. Well, let's get down and hear from our top 3. John Morgan is there.
Okay, our top 3 finishers. Nikita, 2 good runs today.
Да, 2-я медаль. Спасибо большое всем, кто болел и поддерживал. Я сам очень счастлив. Спасибо всем.
Very happy. He's very thankful of his runs. Now over to the Russian Rocket. Good starts, good runs.
Да, рад сегодняшними соревнованиями. Была очень интересная, хорошая гонка. Я очень счастлив. Спасибо всем тренерам, обслуживающему персоналу и всем, кто болел, поддерживал. Спасибо.
Just thank you to us too for his runs. But now we go to Superman. Yeah, good crowd of Latvians around here. You thought we were in Sigulda, but how about the 2 competitors on either side of you, huh?
Yeah, of course, they've been really strong and getting especially youngest, are getting faster and stronger. And this is the pushers track. They've been good in a push, also did good runs. So that's a tough race, and this is a great time to be here, to take a part in these competitions, because you see what's happening here, and that gives extra motivation, emotions. And thanks for the team and for everyone.
Thanks to you too. Another 37th victory in your career.
Well, another stunning performance from Martin Stukos. And as ever, these guys are just humbled by the amount of traveling support that they have from a nation of 2 million people. They really get a great boost in performance. Well, it's win number 6 of the season for Martin Stukos. One race left to come a week from now in Sochi before the World Championships. Thanks to Ben Sanford, John Morgan, and the FIBT TV crew. Thanks to you two for joining us here in Igls in Austria. Until the next time, from me, Martin Haven, it's Auf Wiedersehen and goodbye.